For this basic Premiere Pro tutorial video, we're going to be covering how to preview clips, create timelines, put in and out points, and do some of the basics of just putting a timeline together. The first thing we're going to cover is previewing clips, so you can watch what you've already recorded without adding them to a timeline. In Premiere Pro, you will find the clip that you want to preview. So the first thing you do is, let's say you want to preview this clip here. Double click it, and within here you've got your playhead. And your playhead is the point at which the video is playing. To play that, you can click play here, or you can hit spacebar to play it through. If you want to preview a different clip, because that's not the one you want, double click a different clip and hit play again, or again, hit spacebar, or again, if you want to play it, hit the spacebar. And that's how you preview a clip within Premiere Pro. To start editing, you're going to want to create a timeline. And to create a timeline is a couple of options. Go to File, New, and Sequence. Name your sequence. So again, if you're making a short film, you might want to edit this into sequences that are scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, so it matches the folder that you've created. Within here, you've got lots of different options of file formats and what it's been recorded on. Don't worry if you get this wrong, it will come up with change sequence settings when you drag in clips. But for your work, there'll be a lot of AVC HD, or it might be a digital DSLR that you might want to do it in. If you're shooting on something a bit more professional, you might be shooting at ProRes RAW. Try and work out what your camera shoots in and set your sequence up to be that. When you're happy, click OK, and it will create a new sequence. If you've got a folder selected when you create a new sequence, it will go into that folder. So if I go now, File, New, Sequence, and you go, oh, it's not there, where's it gone? It will be in the folder that you had highlighted. So there is my sequence. If you want to delete it, push backspace on your keyboard, or there is a dustbin here, which is clear. Select the one you want to get rid of. When you've got a sequence loaded up, it will come up within the timeline section, which is here, and it will come up with the name of what you are doing. There's a couple of ways of adding clips into your timeline. You can use the preview and find where you'd want the video to start. So for this, I want it to start just as it's about to jump. Within the preview section, you've got an in point and an out point. So an in point is what it says. It's where the video will start from. So if you click your in point, you'll see everything along it like a highlighted light grey. You can play your footage along to where you want to stop. And so I want it to stop a bit further back. Find the point where I want it to stop, and I'm scrubbing along using the playhead. Click the out point, and it will then have this part selected. To drag it to the timeline, click on the main part here. If you click on this, it will only drag in the video. If you click in this, it will only drag in the audio. So make sure you click on this part. Click and hold and drag it in. If your sequence does not match what you've recorded in, this is the chance for you to change sequence settings. The reason it's important to change your sequence settings so it matches your footage is playback speed. If you're asking your timeline to play back in a different format, it will slow down, it will be quite jumpy. So make sure that you get your sequence settings right when you're dragging the clips in. To do this, you can keep existing settings. Now, if you want to do that, you can keep existing settings, and there are situations where that's important, or click change sequence settings. When you start, you might find that your timeline is quite long. At the bottom here, you can zoom in on your timeline by dragging left and dragging out to the right, or on your keyboard, you can click the plus and the minus button, and that will zoom in and out on your timeline. Once you've imported footage into your timeline, you will see that on the right-hand side, there is now the program output, and this is linked to your timeline. So if you click play here, this will play in the timeline, and you can see the playhead going along. Again, you can scrub through here and it will play on that side, and you can see what is being played back. Another way you can edit, and this is personal preference, you can drag in the entire clip into the timeline, then cut it up. It's not as efficient as using the preview, because you then have to sift through stuff on your timeline, you have to cut it up and delete bits. However, some people prefer this. So to do this, click on the clip you want, drag it in, and that drags in the entire clip. The way you can tell it's the entire clip is here. You've got two little markers at the end of the audio and the video, and that's where the video will end. For this, you can drag along to the point where you want it to start. So I'm going to want it to start just as it's coming up to the edge. There's a couple of ways that you can cut the clips up, and I'll show you two ways here. First way is you have your tools within here, and halfway down you have what's called the razor tool, and you can click on that. Or on your keyboard you can push the C key, and that will bring it up. And then you aim your playhead to where you want to cut. You hover your razor tool over this and it will cut on the playhead. You can just move along and cut at any point you want, but for accuracy I would suggest using the playhead. So I know I want to cut there, and I now need to go back to the pointer tool, or you can push a V on your keyboard, click on the bit that you want to delete, so I don't want that anymore, and now it starts from there. Your other way of doing it is, if you know where you want the end of the clip, again, I want the end of the clip to end there. Come to the end of the whole clip, you'll see a red arrow. Click and hold and drag it back, and it will snap to the playhead. So now I've got the clip I want. However, I've got a bigger gap here. Two ways again. You can move the clip manually by just dragging it, and as long as you have the magnet tool there, which is the snap-in tool in Timeline, it will snap to that. However, another way you can do it is click in the space, hit backspace, and it will drag everything to the left. So that's the basics of creating a timeline and a sequence, adding clips using the preview, and cutting the clips up on the timeline. In the next video, we'll go through how to add transitions to your clips. That's it. I don't want to do anything more than that. In the next video, we'll just go through the basics of adding transitions to your clips.